Hi, my name is Richard Green, and I'm a former faculty member at Solano Community College. And the date is April,
What is it?
whatever date it is. It's about April the 10th or 11th. And the reason I'm here in Santa Rosa, California, is I'm going to be interviewing a very good friend of mine who also happens to be the individual who started the nursing program at Solano College in the late 60s and early 70s. And this is Donna Harris. And Donna, I'm really happy that we finally were able to get together to have this chat. And I thought we'd do some reminiscing about your years at Solano College since you started the nursing program.
Okay.
And first of all, we're not in the Solano College area. We're in Santa Rosa, where you've just moved into a beautiful new residence, and it's just a lovely, lovely place. But before that time, you lived in Walnut Creek.
Walnut Creek.
And I lost you for about 3 months, and then I finally found that you
Yeah.
had moved. So it's good that we're together.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I'm doing this interview with you is because I've come up with an idea, along with several people at Solano College, is that we're interested in forming a nursing alumni association. And this association would consist of all of the people who have graduated in the nursing program at Solano College, and we hope to form an association. In fact, we're going to be having a dinner May 17th of this year, in which it's going to work like this. We're going to honor the students who are going to graduate on a Saturday night, May 17th, and then on Tuesday they will receive their pins. And so we hope that this would be an annual event, and honoring the graduates to be, and also that we start pulling in the past people who have gone through the program that you started.
That I started.
That's right.
In 1969.
1969. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you a Californian, or are you from?
Oh, I've lived in California so long, I think of myself as that. But I was born in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
And I came out here in 1935, and then when my education was at Los Angeles County General Hospital.
That's where you went through the nursing program?
3-year program.
3-year program.
Yeah, the diploma program, they called them. And I left there and went back, worked in Texas. I worked in Santa Rosa here.
Oh.
And then finally went back to school and got my master's.
And where did you go to school?
At UCLA.
UCLA?
And at UC Berkeley.
I see.
Yeah.
So when did you finish that program as far as the administrative part of your career?
That actually was in about 59 and 60 in Los Angeles. And I came to San Francisco, taught at San Francisco State College,
Okay.
and nursing program there, until 1969, when I went to Solano and started the program.
Well,
there.
that's what I was kind of interested in. How did you hear about the program or the opening at Solano College?
Well, the person who was the consultant for the Board of Registered Nursing was an acquaintance, and she told me about the program, looking for a director.
Ah.
And I said, oh, that sounds interesting, but I really don't have an administrative background. And she said, if you don't take it, some other jackass will. And that was Grace. And so I said, okay. And I went for the interview with Dallas Evans, and we got along fine. And I decided that there would be something that was a challenge I could take.
Okay.
So I did.
So you came up to Solano College.
Yes. At that time I was living in Mill Valley.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that wasn't that far away. Did Dallas Evans interview you?
He did. And he didn't know anything about a registered nursing program because Solano College had a vocational nursing program. But it would not be possible to have both programs going because you needed the clinical facilities, and they would need them for the RN program. So we had to discuss whether we could discontinue one, and then he also didn't realize that we would need facilities on campus because the VN program was basically housed at Kaiser Hospital.
I see.
So it was very different what we were proposing.
Yeah. And what did he think? Were you able to convince him to accept your ideas?
Yeah, he was very cooperative, but it took a lot of meetings and talking with him because we needed office space, we needed classroom, and I was surprised when I arrived and I found out that they had not planned an office for me. So there was they were on the high school campus, I guess we were at the beginning.
We were on the old Vallejo Junior College campus.
Right, and and so we were in a building with the vocational program. Mr. Pratt was in charge, and so that was where my office was.
Okay.
I called it the chicken coop.
Well, the thing is, Solano College was once a part of the Vallejo Unified School District, and then in '65 there was a vote to create a separate community college, and that's how Solano Community College went into effect. And so the college, in May or June when they had graduation, it was Vallejo Junior College, and then in September it was Solano College. And that's when I started in fall of '66.
Oh.
And I got the job while I was sitting in Rome with my wife because I had applied for the job, but I wasn't there to be interviewed. But the situation was quite different at that time.
Yes.
And so I came in '66, and then we were on that campus from '66 till spring of '71. So you were hired in '69. So for 2 years, you were working on developing that program.
Just 1 year.
Well, 1 year.
It was 1 year because we took our first class in 1970.
Okay, so that's the other thing. Your first class started in '70, so the first graduates then were in '72.
Right. Yeah.
So '72 to the year 2000 is 28. And this one is 14, so 28 and 42 classes.
Yeah, wow.
42 classes.
Yeah, that's right.
And the classes have sometimes got up to 50.
Yeah, they increased after I left, and I wasn't aware of how large they were.
So some of those classes, so probably the numbers of graduates are probably over 2,000.
About,
that we have. And I imagine some of those people from the early classes, they probably retired from nursing.
Very definitely,
Yeah.
because a number of them were older women who were coming back as LVNs to become RNs.
Right.
And so I'm sure that they retired.
Yeah. Well, then you hired the first staff.
Yes.
And included in that staff was a woman by the name of Carolyn Whitaker, who
later became your wife.
Later became my wife. Who else? Do you remember any of the other people?
I remember Carolyn, only I always know her as Anne, showing up as a long-haired blonde.
Yeah.
And then I didn't see her again until the semester began. And she arrived as a curly-headed redhead. I really wasn't sure it was the right person.
Yeah. Do you remember the names of any of the other
yes.
primary instructors?
Yeah. Floy Harris.
Floy Harris, who's still around and just visited you here in Santa Rosa a few days ago.
Yep. And Floy and the other one was married to a football coach, and I can't remember her name, but she was always comparing everything to plays.
To plays of football.
Yeah. And then Lopez, who
whose husband was a doctor.
was a doctor, yeah.
Ed Lopez.
Ed, yeah, right. And let's see, Eileen Kennedy Liang.
Right, who's still alive, and she's living up in Rio Vista.
Yeah, I understood she's doing very well.
Yeah.
And then Mila
Koger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her name now, Mila Koger, who lives now in Montana.
Right.
On a ranch.
Yep. And then Charlotte McEwen.
Yeah.
And Hazel Shepherd.
Hazel Shepherd.
Yeah. That's about the numbers I can remember.
Yeah. Well, tell me about some of the problems that you had in initiating the program. What's all involved in creating a program?
Well, the major thing is that you must educate everyone in the community about the program. That this was was called a 2-year program. It really took most people 4 years to get through it because of all the pre-nursing things that they must take.
Yeah.
And then there was always a long waiting list. It was it was a desirable program. And so that educating the nursing community about the program was my first duty for the first year, and then and also the physicians in the area. Then for the college to realize that we needed facilities on campus, we needed classroom space, we needed a skills lab, which they had not planned on. So all these things had to be developed during that first couple of years. And then the placement of students.
Right, for the clinical.
Right, the clinical is the major component in trying to establish a program, is having enough places for students to have an experience that is a worthwhile experience, and that the faculty can supervise them properly, and that you have the cooperation of the staff on the units also,
right,
because they have to help sometimes when no one else is around.
And other schools of nursing are competing for the
spaces.
The spaces, right. And that's always a...
Yeah, we were fortunate at the beginning because there were no other schools within our area, but I guess that as time went on, we got
more and more.
Yeah, so we kept expanding. We went to Travis Air Force Base to have students go there, and that was a difficult thing because there are lots of contracts and things that have to be done with the federal government. It was more complicated than just in our regular community. But developing those facilities were one of the major issues. And then as the program was established, nursing had a requirement that you had to have continuing education periodically. I can't remember how often it was now,
right, yeah.
But anyway, and so we needed to develop continuing education courses that people in the community could participate in, and we developed a EMT, a emergency medical technician program
yeah.
that was very successful and is still ongoing.
Yes.
And well, what else? That's sort of what it was. Yeah. You had to have contracts. We had to work with the business office. Right. Things that the college had never experienced before, right. And so it was a learning experience for all of us. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, talking about N. Dallas Evans, he was quite a character, the first president from Nebraska. But he did like women. Yes. And I think he must have liked you quite a bit because it sounds as though you two got along very well. One of the things, a funny story about it, when the college was designed, it was supposed to have these porticos out from the buildings. But then, due to finances, they couldn't do that because of the costs. However, there was one building that was going to be made according to the original plans. And guess what? That was done of the science building because Dr. Evans really liked the existing woman.
Oh.
Who was the
That
department?
Oh, I can't.
I'm trying to think of it.
Yeah, wonderful woman.
Yeah.
So
But anyway,
attractive.
the science building, if anybody goes and sees that, that's the reason that
They got what they Mary Buckley.
Mary Buckley, right? See, what was in establishing the program, what was the biggest obstacle that you had?
Well, we didn't have facilities. When we first moved to the campus, we had a trailer for the faculty, and then we had to find classrooms within other departments until we finally got a building. I can't remember what year we got our building, but it was wonderful because we had everything in one place. We had classrooms, we had the skills lab, we had our offices, so that it was much easier to function. Before that, we were scattered. For a while, we were in the library building. So some of the faculty were there. That was when Anne first came on board. And it was the business of never feeling established.
Yeah.
It was so difficult for the first 5 years, I think. And then we finally had our place and felt like we belonged.
What was the first year then that the first class? What year did they get their pins? They
got their pins in 72.
In 72, so that was the first class.
First pinning, and yes.
And there's always been one class, except for a few years ago, they got some extra money, and they had 2 classes, and I think that just went on for 2 years.
Yes, I heard about that. I haven't kept
They
that.
were graduating in December. In fact, I started a scholarship for that, but then it didn't go. And
you've been very active with the nursing program. It's been wonderful for them.
Well,
really.
And we've done a lot as far as raising money. In fact, now we have a donor from the East Coast. His his mother was a nurse, and the name was Zelton, and the father was a minister in Vallejo, and the son now is in international business, and he's been very, very generous to the college.
Oh, that's great.
And he's giving several scholarships. So we build up the scholarships.
Yeah, oh, that's nice.
And they're really not scholarships, they're mainly awards because we give them to the second-year students who are finishing. And but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And that's why on Saturday when we honor the new graduates, then that following Tuesday is when they get their pins. And so I think this is a good idea. And several of the people who are graduates from our program, they have heard about it, and they're very excited about it.
Oh, good. Actually, there was discussion, when I was there, that we should have an alumni association, and it seemed like there was so much to do with the program that it never seemed to get around to the alumni part.
Yeah. Well, I was active as far as with Jerry Fisher when he was president. He tapped me. He says, "Rick," he says, "help me get this retirees association going."
Yeah.
And I wasn't very happy with Solano College at that time because of certain things that had happened when I left. But I said yes. And then Jerry, 2 years later, he joined, and he's created a website. And he maintains the website, and eventually I hope that we have a website for the alumni.
Yeah.
And these 2 classes, this class that's graduating this year and the class that's graduating next year in 2015, they're going to be the cornerstone of that, and they're going to help me develop it. And so I'm excited about that, and I think it's just going to be a really... And Dr. McKinnon, who's the acting head of the nursing division, she says, "I've thought about this, but this is her first year there, and it's just so busy just trying to run things."
That's it. You get so caught up in the day-to-day things that you forget about the future.
Well, one of the things that we're hoping is that when we put this video out, that a lot of the former students and teachers who maybe have lost touch with you will be able to hear this interview. Certainly will get a big kick out of it. But I think what's even more important is for the students who are there now and in the future to actually see the woman who started the program.
Oh, that's very good of you, Rick. Very good of you.
And I remember you from that point way back in the late 60s and early 70s, and you had a great reputation there at the college. Everybody liked you, and you got people to cooperate with you, and it was very good.
That was fortunate, because without the cooperation of the whole college, the program wouldn't have gone.
And Dr. Evans liked you too. Well, tell us, let's conclude this by telling us a little bit about what you retired what year?
1983.
So you were there for, what, 20?
I was there for 15 years.
Oh, 15 years.
Yeah. I retired sort of early. I just felt like I'd
You've done your thing.
Yeah. And since that time, I've traveled a lot. I was traveling before, but then I did more traveling. And as I got older, they became cruises.
Yeah.
And cruises are fun because you don't have to unpack. You just pack and unpack once. Mm-hmm. And we've done some long cruises, like 3 months, and very interesting ones. Been going to Asia and to Cambodia, to Angkor Wat, to Petra, places that you just wouldn't get to otherwise.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to retire from traveling too.
Big traveling, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's tiresome.
It is now. It's more of a chore. So,
yeah. When it gets to be that way.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be exciting for a lot of people who were in the early part of the programs that when you were in charge to see you now and to catch up with you, because there's so many of these nursing students who are now nurses, and like I was saying, probably a lot of them are retired.
Yeah. Once in a while I would run into one. Not living in the area, I just have always lived out of the area.
Right.
I never run into people as often as you might. But.
Well, I want everybody who's watching this to realize that I have invited you to the May 17th alumni, the first alumni meeting, but you're going to be in New York City attending the Metropolitan Opera. So that's wonderful. That's one of the things that I was going to do when I retired, is go to New York every year and go to the opera and the symphony. But I've done it once, but I'd still like to do it again.
No.
Well, thank you very much for inviting us up to this beautiful residential hall here in Santa Rosa, and it's a beautiful surroundings, and be willing to spend some time with you, and again, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Rick.
Okay.